Backroads is made possible by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund, with money by the vote of the people, November 4th, 2008.
Riding a highline, headed back east. Engineer Bill, Poker Pete and me. Northern Pacific pays me in cash, but it's Engineer Bill who's got my back. One more mile round this hill, it is to the roundhouse bill. Belly up, buddy, belly right up to the bar. Got 1,000 miles of story in a railroad car. Members think Matthias on a Sunday afternoon, walking with my true love under the yellow moon. One more mile, one more hill, get us to the roundhouse bill. Pacific moonlight, great northwest, had to leave behind the one that I love best. Northern Pacific, they pay me in cash, but it's Engineer Bill, it's got my back. One more mile, one more hill, get us to the roundhouse bill. Yeah, one more mile, one more hill, get us to the roundhouse bill.
I'm Bruce Archer. I'm up here from Brainerd area, and I play a kind of a Americana under that big umbrella of Americana, but I incorporate a lot of blues and bluegrass, some folk, those kinds of influences, and then I try to take them in and then put them out my way. Try to have it be an expression of humanity, you know, like this is how I'm expressing myself. And so like what I hope is that when people listen to me, we go on a journey together. I've seen some bands around that they take you on this journey, and if you let them, it's pretty fun. I mean, it's just an excellent ride.
I see the glitter, but I can't find the gold. Downtown's like winter, and it's turning cold. Another city slicker, talking bold. Well, I'm burying a picture somewhere I call home. heart. Rosie, the nights, how'd you get to be so hard? Rosie, the nights. About 100 times I've drove away from this town, but the siren songs of night, they turn my head around to that yellow horizon. A song come to ground. Fill your head with promises, you stand on sacred ground. Rosie, the nights turn out to be the hardest part. Rosie, the nights, how'd you get to be so hard? Rosie, the nights. Well, we both said we know about what paved the streets, but I'm here to tell you, Rose, it's only concrete. Rose, put your arm in mine and see if you can see anything left that reminds you of me. Rosie, the nights turn out to be the hardest part. Rosie, the nights, how'd to get to be so hard? Rosie, the nights. Rosie, the nights.
Oh, the busier schedule definitely made it more difficult to learn new songs. My songs come in spurts, and I have to have the time to let the spurt develop. It's, let it bloom. And a spurt for me might be 5 or 6 songs within, a 2-week period. But a lot of times what'll happen is maybe the first song is one that pops into my head and I think, oh yeah. But then after I've been with it a few days, I'm thinking, ooh, that one, I don't know about that one. But the thing about it was, it got me to the next one, that maybe that's going to be a song I play the rest of my life, that stays with me, and some of them kind of grow with you. There's a song I wrote, Rosie the Nights, that I had that done back in like 1989. But then as I grew and developed and matured, I wrote the last verse that I really like now. I wrote that just like a couple years ago, because it kind of grew with me. And the thing is, when you're that busy, during the summer, it's just like bam, bam, bam. This last summer, we had days like the 4th of July week where I think we had 7 or 8 gigs. My wife is my roadie, Lisa. And for a while, my children were too. So when I say we, my family, traipsing around, carrying my equipment and doing my sound checks.
big lake, haul my fishing boat. I'm going to the big lake, haul my fishing boat. I'm going to the big lake, sweetheart, you can watch me go. I got a bucket of live bait, I got some fancy mojo. I got a bucket of live bait, I got some fancy mojo. I'm going to the big lake, sweetheart, you can watch me go. I got coffee on the table, I got cash on the board. I got coffee on the table, I got cash on the board. I'm going to the big lake, sweetheart, you can hold the door. I'm going to the big lake, haul my fishing boat. Yeah, I'm going to the big lake, haul my fishing boat. I fished out this little pond, darling, you can hop right on. I fished out this little pond, darling, you can hop right on.
Well, 6 years ago was my first appearance, and I had just started playing in this general area. After we recorded the first Backroads show in 2017, I was able to use that kind of as a calling card for places that I wanted to get gigs at. And when I found out that I was going to be on this show, I thought, I need a good guitar. I'm going to finance one. And at that point, it was the middle of summer, and it seemed like there were enough gigs that I'd be able to pay, a couple $100 a month for another year or so. And then I found out that in my area of Minnesota, that once fall hits, a lot of those gigs just went away because they were all based on tourism. But there were other places out and about that, they had a high percentage of their clientele was specifically there to listen to music. So I had to somehow get a hold of them and make myself, enticing to them in some way.
Mama, which road you traveling down? Mama, which road you traveling down? I'm parked here on the greenway, but I'm bound to follow you round. Mama, feel like I've been here before. Mama, feel like I've been here before. Parking on the greenway, pacing on the kitchen floor.
But you could orchestrate these little jaunts out into the other states and stuff and be away. But my goal when I started this again, you know, after a few years off raising children, it wasn't to like get so busy I ditched my family. It was, I needed to work it in to my family. And so I made my children my roadies. I use 3 guitars now. I was up to 4 at one point, but I've got it down to 3. And I have my Martin that I've had through this whole time. I had that on the first time I was on the show. That's for, you know, my finger picking style and kind of the old timey mountain flavor songs. And some like blues influenced bluegrass. It's sort of a mesh of the bluegrass, like bluegrass breakdowns, but with the blues edge. And I that's something that I've been practicing for years. That was a style I kind of developed back in Minneapolis, and that was kind of my thing back then, to just kind of wail away. So that's what the Martin's for. And then I got a resonator guitar, which I'd wanted for a long time, mostly because I play slide a lot, and that seems, you know, that's the sound, you know, especially if you put a little bit of reverb on it, you can get the Southwestern ghost sound. And if you have it real staccato, you can get the Delta blues from the, you know, Louisiana type thing. And it's got that Robert Johnson sound to it. And Johnny Winter used National guitar, and it's just one of them that I needed to have. Only the thing with me was I'd get a hold of a metal body one, and it was like the sound was a little too brash for me.
Jim and Lenore met each other. They were working together at the same place. They said they would remember the time. Lenore, sometimes she cried, said her garden don't go right in this town where the air turns brown. Have to pay for black dirt ground. She said she misses the smell of the pines, the North Shore under November skies when the snow flies. Jim stayed in town, chasing himself around in his dreams, but Lenore was running round and round on his mind, especially when the north wind blows the summer breeze into memories and the snow flies. stiff north wind. He wants to see her in the theater of the Northern Lights. He's gone up to the land of the pines. He's gonna get to her when the snow flies.
Backroads is made possible by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund with money by the vote of the people, November 4th, 2008.